Hi, I'm Lenny Schmidt.
And I'm Robert Robbins.
And welcome to This Is Not Your Father's Show. This is a show where we talk about, it's not your father's show. It's our show.
No, it's our show.
Yes, we're fathers, but we're different fathers than our fathers. Because our fathers were older, cranky men.
This is true.
You didn't talk back or question our fathers. Today, you can discuss things with your father. But when we were young,
which is good.
We were deathly afraid of our fathers. we just
I still am.
Yeah, mine's been gone a long time, but you don't when your dad gets home was a pretty significant statement when I was young. So
oh yeah,
that was not cool.
Yeah, I think they have that in Leave It to Beaver episodes. Wait till your father gets home.
Yeah, but in Leave It to Beaver was different. It was like, Beef, listen, son, you really, when you sell Boy Scout cookies, you want to give all the money back to the Boy Scouts. It's a simple. When I was a kid, when your father gets home, it usually involved my belt, and he had to get the belt for him. That was always the worst too.
Oh,
was go get me your belt.
Yeah. Well, see, for us, it was our mom. We knew that with one hand, our dad could end us, and he didn't. So we had that fear.
Yeah.
But my mom, on the other hand, that look,
Yeah, my mom had a look that could kill plants. She had that look.
Yeah.
She was looking.
Yeah.
And
then you were always.
My dad
Did
never
you ever
wanted to
tease
hit
your
us.
mom in public? Like, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna do it in public.
Fuck no, my mom did. It kidding me? My mom beat the shit out of us all the time. My mom was the one that really beat the crap out of us most. My dad never wanted to hit us, but my mom kept telling him, "You need to hit these kids with the belt." And my dad would go, "I'm not hitting them with the belt," and then she would go, "You have to beat him with the belt." So he would hit us with the belt, and then he'd get so mad at her that he'd hit us hard with the belt, so it sucked. And the worst beating I ever got from my dad is when he was coming in the room. And I had the belt, and I go, and I had the belt, I was waiting for him to come in there, and Mike looks at me, and I go, well, Dad's the one that's going to hit us, so it's not Mom, so it won't be that bad. And Dad heard when he walked into the room, he heard me say that. So then,
oh no,
yeah, so I really got the shit kicked out of me that day. That was a rough day.
I was able to one time I did something really bad, and I don't even remember what it was, but I was able to hide some magazines in my pants. And I remember it was Surfer magazine, and I stuck it down my
stuck it on the
pants.
back. Really?
Yeah.
Did that work?
It did.
Dude,
I was incredible. There was a delayed reaction, and my mom's amazing. I love my mom, and my dad's awesome too. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I screwed up. I really was the one that put the gray in their hair. And what was funny is, I remember the first swat, and I'm like, man, I didn't even feel that. I'm like, oh, ow.
Yeah,
so I had to
it hurts like hell.
Yeah, I had to catch up a second. I was like kind of excited, and I'm like, that sends the wrong message.
Yeah, right. You don't want to give the is that all you got message. You know what I mean?
Oh man,
you don't want them to think that.
Have your girls ever done that to you?
No, because I've never hit my girls.
I never know that. Like, is that all you got with taking punishments away?
Oh no, because they usually get pretty crushed when I take certain things away. They get more upset with the. You know what it is? It's the whole disappointing my father thing. That still means something to them. So they don't. When they do something, it crushes them that they're upset, or it crushes them that I'm upset.
That's good. That shows that you have a very strong bond, and they have empathy and remorse for whatever it is they do.
Yeah, right.
Being wrong instead of getting defensive and feeling justified by it.
Right.
That's not good. But seeing that it wrongs you is important. That's a healthy relationship.
Yeah, and I also because I have proper boundaries set with the girls, so it's not like I just lose my mind and yell at them for no reason, which is that helps a lot. That's a big deal. I tell them there's certain things that annoy me, like lying is a big thing. Like Lily, I always tell Lily, don't lie to me. That's the only thing. I can handle everything but lying.
Lying is huge, and I'm glad you're talking about that because that's our
called a
topic
segue,
today.
Robert. That's a professional way to segue into our subject today, which is
lying.
Lying, yes, we're talking about lying.
Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me, butters.
Yeah.
With lying, actually, we're the ones to blame. Parents are.
You specifically?
Well, I'm not talking about like. No,
I'm blaming you every time my kids lie from now on. I'm blaming you 100%.
There's always a scapegoat, so don't lie to them about that.
I won't. I'm going to tell them the truth.
The situation is we start lying to our kids at a very young age, and we don't even realize it. We are actually teaching them to lie. For example, how many times have you been out with your kids and your kids don't want to run errands? Neither do you, but grocery shopping, DMV, whatever it might be, and you have to have your kids with you because there's nowhere else to put them. And you can't, it's wrong to leave them in the car, not healthy. And
Wait, it's wrong.
Like, how long are we going to be here?
What if you close the windows and it's really hot?
It's not a. Yeah. That and maybe like one of those weight blankets so they feel comfortable.
Yeah, like a weight blanket. And then maybe you throw like a cobra in there, like a cobra or a python.
Or you can tell them there's one and you can't find it.
That's the best thing to do is tell them there's a snake in there. I'll be back soon.
I think there was a scorpion that came somewhere in there, or a tarantula.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, you're
That's
just
good.
racking it up.
Yeah, they'll
get
pay
ready
attention
for Halloween.
Then. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So how many times have we said 5 minutes? And
we do that. No, I've done that, but my mom used to do that crap to me. My mom always went to our friend Kay's house, and it was like, when are we going home? We're going home in about 10 minutes. And then an hour would go by, and another hour would go by. And my mom was the worst about that.
Yeah, and it's a lie because we're not being honest with our kids. Now, you have to understand with kids, because especially when they don't want to be there, they're counting their like 4:57, 4:58, and like, let's go. Why aren't we, walking out the door? Right. You have to understand that. So take 30 seconds, okay, and say, you know what? How long are we going to be here? I don't know. I'm hoping less than 20 minutes. I don't want to be here. But if it takes longer, it takes longer. Thank you for your patience. All right? As soon as we can get going, soon as we can leave, okay? Now, staying at a friend's house, there's that 5 minutes of like, oh, yeah, I'll be home in 5 minutes. That's a little bit different. You're going to have to say, well, I'm enjoying myself. Can you please be patient? Because that's the same kind of patience I exercise with you when you want to show me something at the park, like you can stand on one leg or jump off the swings or something. So a lot of that is explaining. And the second part is understanding that the little lies and lies of omission are the same thing. The most important part,
like the
omission
truths.
ones. Oh, yeah. Or, why did you do that? Well, you didn't tell me not to. And it's like, I didn't tell you to steal a car either. I think we're, past that point of, learning right from wrong.
Know better. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So especially in the teenage levels, you're gonna get to the, well, you didn't tell me not to. And at that point, it's like, okay, so let's be honest, your common sense, you already have that bell going off. Otherwise, you're not using any executive functioning. That's the, part of your frontal cortex when you can learn right from wrong and consequences. So in this sense, you're going to have to distinguish. Now, the main thing with lies, and I tell parents this all the time, this is the biggest, most important thing. Let's say your kids, they lie and they didn't take out the garbage, or they didn't start the dishwasher or the homework or walk the dog, whatever it is. You have to let them know whatever they did wrong is one thing that you can handle. Like you said, you turned in a homework assignment, but you didn't, whatever it might be. There's one doing something wrong, but you have to make it very clear that lying is a separate issue. And by a separate issue, it means like, okay, well, you disobeyed me or you didn't do your homework, you're going to have a bad grade, whatever it might be. So if you get bad grades, that means no PlayStation or Xbox, whatever your punishment is. But the lying, you have to separate it. You can't group it together in a punishment like saying, you didn't this and you lied. No. Always be honest. And then you can say, if you're honest, we can deal with it. But if you lie, that breeds mistrust. And, if they're going to drive one day, you have to be able to trust them. If they're going to go out to a friend's house or a party or something like that in the later years of high school, then you're going to have to say, I need to trust you. Right. That means don't lie.
Right. And also the act of lying, what I tell my kids all the time is the lying that's a conscious decision you're doing. You've made a decision to not tell me the truth. Like a lot of lies, they'll tell a lot of lies to cover up a mistake. Like I can handle a mistake. Right. Like if you fail a test or even like a car accident. You know what I mean? If you get into a car accident, it's an accident. It happens. People get into car accidents. They suck. It's not great. But, you got to tell me what really happened. Don't lie to me, because then I find out you're lying and it makes everything worse.
Yes. If I let my daughter know all the time, as long as you're honest, we can work on anything. We can solve any solution, no problem. if you lie to me, that's a whole, like, you're not going to want that. And my daughter actually lied to me one time, and it was big. She took her mother's prescription glasses to school, and she hid them at school in her desk. And we were looking everywhere through the house.
That's a
for 'em.
weird
And we asked her,
maneuver. Did they have the same
Well,
eyes? Why would you
no,
take the prescription
I mean,
glasses?
she liked them because, I mean,
The frames?
they looked really cool. They
the
were
frames.
she liked the frames. They were coach glasses with a
it's
prescription.
Very popular.
And she was sitting in class, and she's been tested several times. She still has 20/20 vision, but she liked the look of it, to look smarter and who knows what else. So she brings these glasses. Oh, they also turn in the sun, so they turn to dark
they're like,
glasses. In the sun.
what do they call those? The real sunglasses? I can't remember. There's a word for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, so she liked them because on the playground, she has sunglasses. She goes in and she has glasses, and she thinks, Clark Kent style looks really great.
Sure.
So we asked,
All
we're
the
like,
kids
have
are
you
shocked.
seen him?
Look at your glasses.
man.
They're so cool.
Yeah. And we tear the house apart. We're looking everywhere. And eventually, because my wife needs glasses, we had her get new glasses, which, we have the insurance and everything, but it still costs a lot of money. So it was the end of school, and they're bringing stuff back, and in her bag are the glasses. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Was it how
You've
much
had the
longer?
glasses
How much
the-
longer was this, or how much time had passed since you misplaced them?
It was almost 2 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Right.
I mean, I'm glad they weren't lost permanently, but the main thing is you lied to me.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like, oh man. And that following weekend, we were supposed to go to Disneyland.
Uh-oh.
And we were going to meet a friend of mine, Dr. Brian, his wife, and his kids. And I said, I cannot reward this behavior. I'm sorry. No, Disneyland, you lied to me.
Wow.
And that's the thing, parents. It's really hard to say, well, we did plan this trip, so you still get this reward. It's kind of like you find out about the lie and they're still getting what they want. You have to be like, no, you lied. There are consequences, and it sucks.
And it sucks when you want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it's a camping trip or a ball game, you're like, okay, I guess we're not
Exactly.
going to the ball game. You know
You
what I mean?
have to be prepared to
But
make
it's still,
those.
I know you got to be able to be the bigger person or whatever, and stand
Yeah.
up and go, we're not going to do this. And that's the hardest
No.
thing in the world. That's one of the hardest things to do as a parent. That's one of the top things that are the hardest thing I think as a parent. is
Absolutely.
just punish your kid while punishing yourself at the same time. But
Yeah.
in the long run, it makes sense because they need to understand that you mean business, and there was consequences for their actions. Yeah.
And that teaches executive functioning where there is consequence. They have to understand, if I do this, this will happen. If I do something good, good things will happen. If I do something bad, then punishment happens. There's got to be a consequence.
Isn't that like a Pavlov's
sucks.
dog thing? Is it the same thing?
It is.
Pavlov's dog, right? The bell rings and you get a cookie.
I didn't. Yeah,
Is that
I
it?
didn't want to say it, but I mean, a lot of teaching kids is repetition and
Yeah.
knowing that there's
See,
consequences.
I know some
That's
fancy
why things have
therapist
to
words
be.
too.
Yeah. Well, you were in therapy for what, 20
I
or
was
30
in
years?
therapy. Yeah, 20 or 30 years. Yeah, 20 or 30 years. Yeah, right
shows.
around there. Ballpark.
Yeah. Ballpark. So, I mean, the most important thing is you have to stick with consequences when it happens. You have to remind your kids, and this is the thing, when you ask them a question, don't go off like a gun half cocked. What do you mean? And then answer it for them. You have to remind them and say, listen, as long as you're honest and tell me the truth and tell me everything, omitting is lying in this instance, we can work on it. If you lie to me, that's a whole other issue, and we'll have 2 big problems instead of 1. So as long as you remind your kids, be honest, then you can work with them.
That seems reasonable. And it's the hardest. I still think the hardest thing is that I did a Disneyland thing 2 years ago for Lily's grades. We were supposed to go
Yeah.
whole weekend. We canceled the whole trip. That's the hard. It was devastating for me.
Yeah, it sucks. It does. I mean, believe me, I was looking forward to seeing my friend, my wife and his wife, they're friends, and then my daughter and his daughters, they're all friends. So, I mean, it works out well. We ended up meeting them for dinner on the way back, but it wasn't the same as a whole
Right.
Disneyland trip. And she remembers it to this day.
Of course she
She
does.
knows
That's a
that
significant
honesty is-
one. No, it's a huge one. Take away Disneyland. You know what I mean? That's a huge. That's a big one. That's not just
Well, she remembers
dessert.
the honesty part.
Right.
She's like, yeah, I don't want to, you know, and she still knows that I'm still working on trust, because when something goes missing, I'm like, did you take it? And she's like, let me think. Because a lot of times kids, they're like, maybe I grabbed it. And so she'll take a second and think, and she'll say, I don't remember taking it, but if I did, it might be here in my bathroom or something like that.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Right.
So I do appreciate that. And the main thing is you have to stick to the consequences and teach them about lies, and stop lying to them. If you're going to be 20 minutes in the supermarket, be like, listen, we're going to be a while.
Yeah, it's a lot more explaining than when I was younger. You know what I mean? Like when you were talking earlier about the whole, it's going to be hopefully less than 20 minutes, but maybe longer, but I'm going to stay if I have to stay because I got to get it done. Just be patient with me, please, if you don't mind. You know, that's a lot more than I got when I was a kid. You know, I got, shut up. You know, that's what I got.
I got that too.
Yeah, I always got, shut up, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And my mom, she could also say, we're leaving when I want to leave. And that was an acceptable answer to me because I'm like, oh, this could be all day. You know what I mean?
Oh, I also got, do you want me to make it longer? I'll make it longer. I'm like,
that's a good one, too. That's good. Well, I always hated when she did 10 minutes because then you're right. As a kid, you're like, oh, 10 minutes isn't so bad. You know, and then 10 minutes rolls up. And there were times where we were at my friend Kay's house and we wouldn't say anything to her. But we'd put our coats on, you know, we'd get our coats on 10 minutes later, and we were in the front room, and we're like, hey, Mom, we're ready. And she's like, well, I'm not. Go sit down. Like,
yeah, and then she gets mad, like, why are you
like, I'm the bad guy. Yeah, I'm the asshole. Yeah, I'm the bad guy. I'm like, you told me 10 minutes.
You know. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
But as a kid, you know, again, this a lot of times when we talk about stuff like this, or in these episodes, we have to remember you're talking to a kid with a 9-year-old mind. You know what I mean? As a 9-year-old doesn't understand exactly what's going on or that you're going to stay or whatever. Sometimes it's not so simple and they can't figure things out. You got to explain it to them in detail, but the only way for them to understand is for you to explain it to them and to stand behind what you say. Or
you could give them a broken clock and say, we'll be 5 minutes.
That's a great way to do it. I should do that.
I really wouldn't recommend that, though.
I like that. Although there are no broken clocks anymore. You would need an old school wind-up clock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And make sure it's not wound.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, that's what you need. Is something like that, like an old watch. Because everything now works off of world time. So everybody's on the same time, you know?
Everything's digital. Well, there's clocks everywhere, too. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Ruled by time.
World by time. Okay. That's good.
Bottom line, don't lie.
Don't lie. Yeah, don't lie. And don't lie to your kids. Remember, your kids know what lying is. They figure it out.
Yeah.
And they may not know it's lying at the time.
Yeah,
you're teaching them a pattern that they'll pick up as they get older. So then there was something else you had in the notes that we didn't mention here, I don't think, is the kids will flip it. It's the other way it's flipped around. Like when you say we're going to be, it's going to be 10 minutes.
Well,
yeah, and then suddenly
clean your room.
Clean your room. Why is it taking so long?
Yeah.
Or, you know, why is it not done yet? Like, I'm almost done. So you yell at them for the time thing, but then you don't hold up. You know, you're teaching them to do the same thing you are, and then you're yelling at them for doing the same thing you're doing.
This is modeling behavior. We're teaching them.
That's it. Modeling behavior. That's a very important phrase. All right, man. All right. Modeling behavior. Hey, every Monday we have a new episode uploaded on YouTube at 6 o'clock. As I mentioned earlier, do me a favor, like the video, please. Share the video if you're a parent with other parents, and subscribe to the Lenny Schmidt Comedy Channel. We'll have new episodes every single week, 6 o'clock on Mondays.
Yep.
Yep.
See you next week.
Yep.